Okay, so today we're going to talk about finding the surface area of a three-dimensional object. In this case, it is a rectangular prism. And as you can see, the picture here, it's a three-dimensional picture on a two-dimensional space. So just show you what that would look like. It would have two sides. It would have a top and a bottom, and it would have a left and a right. And when you open this up to make it a two-dimensional flat surface, you can see that it's made up of a bunch of sides, which I call faces. And these faces are familiar shapes to you, rectangles, and the two sides look like squares in this case. Although in a rectangular prism, they do not always have to be squares. So the first thing to do is to kind of pick it apart like we did right here where we opened it up and talk about the faces. Now because it does have a left and a right, a front and a back, and then a top and a bottom, it has 6 faces. And as we talked about, those 6 faces are rectangles or squares. A square is a type of rectangle anyway. And as you know from us talking about area, the formula for the area of a rectangle is length times width. So basically, surface area is just an expansion of area. And as you can see at the top of your notes, surface area is the sum of the areas of the polyhedron's faces. And a polyhedron is just a solid that has a lot of different flat surfaces. So on here, we're going to find the surface area, almost like you were wrapping a present. What would be the amount of wrapping paper you would need to go around this rectangular prism? And so we will have to find the area of each of the 6 faces and then add them all together, and that is what we have called surface area. So in this case, I'm going to give you some dimensions. Our length of the bottom of the rectangular surface here, this is going to be 10 inches. And then the depth of our rectangular prism is going to be 3 inches. And because it has it looks like a square to me, I decided that we'll just call this another 3 inches for the height of the prism. So now what we need to do is identify the faces and make sure we find the area of each of the 6 faces. The cool thing about this is this right-hand side here is the same as the left-hand side. So we have a right and a left, and if we find the area of one, we'll find the area of the other. So right and left are this square surface, so the area is going to be 3 times 3, or 9. Now because there's 2 of them, we're going to do times 2, so that will give us 18 for 2 of our 6 faces, as you can see here. Now, we also have a front that matches the back. So our front and our back are this 10, and then the height here is going to be the same as the height all the way around. So this is also 3 inches high. So 10 by 3 will give us 30. But again, there's a front and a back, so we need to multiply that by 2. And so that is 60 square inches for our front and our back all together. The last is our top and our bottom. So we have top, and we'll put BO for bottom. And our top and our bottom, again, this distance here, the width of the shape is the same as the width down here, so it's going to be 10, and then this length or depth here will be the same as the depth down here, so by 3, which again is 30. And because there are two of them, 30 times 2, the top and the bottom, is another 60 square inches. So if we add up all of these, we'll have our surface area. So 18 plus 60 plus 60 is a total of 138 inches squared. So just to recap, when you're doing surface area, you need to first of all figure out how many faces do you have. This had a left, a right, a front, a back, a top, and a bottom, so it had 6 faces. In this case, because it's a rectangular prism, they were all rectangles, and so therefore the only area formula we needed was length times width. We were in luck because each one of our faces had a counterpart. The right and the left were the same, so once we found the area of 9 square inches, we just doubled that to make 18. The front and the back were the same, so once we did the 10 by 3 and got the 30 square inches, we doubled that to get 60. And then the top and the bottom, they were also the same, and so once we found their area of 30 again, we doubled that to get 60. Now, had you realized that the top and the bottom and the front and the back were all the same, you could have just found this 30 once and multiplied by 4 to get 120, which is what the 60 plus 60 is. So I hope this helps. Tomorrow in class, you're going to be trying one of these on your own, so bring these notes with you so you can have them to follow along with.